Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. So, I got an Odin 3 and I have no idea how. So that was what I titled the video on Friday when I received this and was absolutely flabbergasted. A few days have passed and I now technically do know how I got it, and I need to talk to you about it because it's been causing me quite a lot of stress and it's quite a messy situation. So let's begin a few months ago when I posted my video AYN Odin 3, I'm worried. I posted this video as a kind of warning to people who maybe don't know too much about these devices that this isn't going to be the perfect endgame system right out of the box. The Snapdragon 8 Elite driver on this chip needs work. It has fantastic potential and it could be the best chip on the market someday. But that day is not today. A lot of people already know this and they don't care and they're happy to buy it, but those people aren't who I made that video for. I made that video for people who maybe don't know about the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip and they're just going to assume it's the best thing they can buy, throw hundreds of dollars at it, and then be disappointed when they can't play games like a lot of Switch games, for example. Then after I made that video, the Odin 3 went live and I had lots of people asking me if I'm going to buy one, if I'm going to make guides about it and help them the same way I did with the Retroid Pocket 5. And part of me wanted to buy one just for the channel so I could make guides for people and show when driver updates come out and things like that. But it felt a bit hypocritical of me to make this video saying, maybe don't buy this thing, and then going out and buying one like 1 week later. So I decided not to buy it and stay firm with my stance that I won't get one until drivers mature. Then we've seen over the past few weeks, loads of YouTubers are getting review units. So many YouTubers, from the ones we expect to get review units, to maybe some we didn't quite expect to get them. There were a few channels that I've not personally heard of before who got review units, which I'm really happy for them. That's awesome. I was so happy when I got my Retro Pocket 5 early. It wasn't a review unit, it was the one I paid for, but just getting it early was so meaningful to me and really launched my whole channel. So I hope that getting the Odin 3 early can help those guys launch their channels too. And it led to a lot of people asking me, why didn't I get one? I mean, my channel's only 1 year old still. I don't expect to get anything. I was over the moon when I got a Conker Pocket Fit from Neo, and I certainly don't expect review units from anybody. Until now, I've never had any review units from Retroid, AYN, Ambernic, so many of the big companies. They've never reached out to me before, so I certainly wasn't expecting to get an Odin 3, especially after I made a video basically telling people not to buy one. But more and more people kept messaging me, commenting, asking when I'm going to buy one, if I'm going to buy one. I saw the AYN Discord got flooded with messages about me. Even when AYN announced updates about the Odin 3 on Discord, my name was appearing underneath it, which was quite funny. So about a week or two ago, I decided to reach out to AYN on Discord and ask if I could get a review unit, as a lot of people seemed to want me to get one and they had sent a lot of review units out, so I thought I would ask, do you happen to have one lying around that I could use for my shootout videos, guides and things like that? I'll certainly make a lot of content about it. I was also talking to another YouTuber around this time as well, wonderful guy, and he offered to message AYN for me because he has some contacts there and ask on my behalf if I could get a review unit. Again, I didn't expect anything, but that was such a lovely, kind, wonderful offer that I said, of course, if you want to do that, I would be super happy and thank you so much for offering. So he messaged the support and I messaged the support at the same time to ask if I could get a review unit. But I didn't get any reply, as I expected. And it was during this time that some kind people in the AYN Discord recommended me starting a Throne campaign, which is basically crowdfunding creators and helping them to buy things they don't really have the funds to buy themselves. So I thought, yeah, why not? I'll ask if anybody is kind enough to donate some money for the cause, and I also didn't expect that to even work, but you know, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? You have to try. So I asked my lovely followers, I'm sure you guys watching now, could you possibly consider donating like a few dollars to me to get an Odin 3? Of course, no pressure. If it doesn't work out, totally fine. And within a few days, it was fully funded and I had the money for an Odin 3. I can't believe it. Thank you so much to everyone who did that. That's incredible. So finally, I can now get an Odin 3. Not right away, I'm going to have to wait a few months because I would be part of the Batch 3 pre-orders, which are due to ship around, I guess, mid-January at this point. I also asked my lovely subscribers, what color would you like me to buy? I was considering the black like always, but some people were saying that's a bit boring. I thought I'd maybe get something like the blue to stand out in my shootout videos, but personally, I'm not really a fan of transparent handhelds or technology in general. But I thought, you know, why don't I let you guys decide? You're the people who are going to actually watch and see the videos, so I'd let you pick what design I go for. YouTube didn't let me include all of the colors because it has a limit of how many pictures I can include. So except for the white model, I put all the other color options available, and the winner by quite a margin was the rainbow color. And I've never had any handheld this color before, so that was quite exciting for me. So I put my order in of the rainbow unit, and I announced this in the AYN Discord. My order is in, so from January, I'll be making some content. And that's when things got really weird. Very soon after I announced that I was buying the Odin 3 in the rainbow color, my pre-order's in, it was about the same day or a day or two later, I suddenly got a reply from the support staff that I had messaged about a week before, just asking me, what is your address? So I replied, quite confused, like, hello, this is my address. And then within 10 minutes, they just sent me a DHL tracking number. No reason why, no message about anything, just, what's your address? Here's your tracking number. This was after 7 p.m. last Thursday. It was about 7:10 p.m. I replied around 7:20, and I got the tracking number at 7:40. And then about 5 minutes later, around 7:45 p.m., my phone starts vibrating. I look at my phone, it says DHL, coming tomorrow. That's unbelievable. I'm in Korea, it's quite close to China, but to get asked what my address was at 7 p.m. and then within 1 hour get a message that my device is coming the next day, that's ridiculous. I mean, it shows how early I could have had a review unit if I was picked in the first place. But suddenly, out of nowhere, after just ordering thanks to you guys, I get a DHL tracking number. And my mind's going crazy. Is this the one I ordered being expedited to me? Is this a review unit in the worst timing ever? I just wasn't sure what was going on, and I decided I have to make this video now. But I've let a few days pass, so I actually can tell you now what's happening, rather than just making a cliffhanger video with no answers. So a little while later, I think it was the next day, I got a message from someone affiliated with AYN, and they let me know that they messaged the support on behalf of me, the same support that me and my YouTuber friend messaged before, and they asked personally if I could get my order expedited quickly. This was a load off my mind because I was getting really worried that my subscribers have paid for something for me, and then almost the next day after ordering, I'm suddenly getting something for free. So it feels like they just wasted their money. So I was hopeful that what was going to arrive would be the one that my subscribers paid for, just nice and quickly. That would actually be the best outcome. So last Friday, this arrived at my door, the Odin 3. And this is not the one that my viewers paid for. We bought the Rainbow Pro model together. This is the white Max model, more powerful and more expensive than the one I bought with my subscribers. So now I'm panicking. Have I just wasted everyone's money, and what can I do? Can I refund it and give everyone their money back? Would that be the moral thing to do because I feel like I've wasted people's money? But then again, if I just cancel my order as soon as I get the free one, is that the moral thing to do in terms of AYN? I just didn't know what to do. I've gone from having no Odin 3 to, in the space of a day, having 2 Odin 3s. I'm just so confused by the situation. But after talking a little bit more to the person who helped expedite this, it became clear that if I never put my pre-order in, thanks to you guys helping me pay for it, I never would have received this either. They only decided to send this to me after considering sending my pre-order early. If there was no pre-order, this wouldn't be in my hands right now. Getting this has been a direct result of the pre-order. So the way I would like to think about it is you guys helping me get a pre-order in has resulted in me getting 2 instead of 1. So thank you so much for that. And now what do I do with 2 Odin 3s going forward? Well, of course, first of all, I'm going to put out lots of videos about this. I'm even going to share my first impressions with you in a minute in this video because I don't want it to just be me rambling about drama and ethical headaches. And this is the 16GB of RAM version compared to the 12GB of RAM version that I bought for myself. So I will also be doing a shootout between them as well, so we can get an idea of how different RAM levels impact games like the high-end Switch games and particularly PC games. A lot of people are curious how much of a difference RAM makes, including me, so I will be putting them against each other to see what difference RAM makes. That's one idea I have so far, and I would love to reach out to you guys to also please let me know, what should I do now I'm getting 2 Odin 3s instead of 1? How can I utilize them? What should I do? And what do you think is the most ethical and moral thing to do? Because it's been driving me crazy, the whole situation. I will of course also be shooting this out with the Conquer Pocket Fit. These two are both amazing. I think you can't go wrong with either of them. And I think if you're waiting on your pre-order for either of these, you're going to be really happy when they arrive. So now let me talk about the Odin 3. I'll set my camera up over the table in front of me, and I'm going to talk about my first impressions of it. And I'm mostly going to focus on the nitpicks and things I don't like about it, because I'm going to have loads of content about all the good features coming soon. So this is the Odin 3, and honestly, it's very good. It's very nice. It feels very premium. The sticks have a great amount of travel using a full-size stick in here, although the caps themselves are very weedy compared to real full-size caps like this. Look at the difference in girth there. I really wish they went for bigger, thicker, stronger caps. I even tried to take the caps off of this GameSir controller and put them on. And while they do actually fit on here, there isn't really any room for motion. But I do hope somebody on Etsy or even AYN themselves work on a stick with this kind of girth, because it does feel a lot better in the hands. As it is right now, it doesn't really feel much different to any other handheld, and all of AYN's claims about full-size sticks don't really make much of a difference. The screen is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful 120Hz OLED, it looks amazing. The buttons are also nice and quiet as well compared to something like a Retroid. The triggers are lovely, the shoulder buttons are quite clicky but fine. The speakers are very, very good. The D-pad is also nice, but I don't like how it has a really big gap around the outside, so much so that you can kind of see the plate it sits on underneath. I don't know, something about this just seems very prototypey to me. I always check the SD card tray on all of these devices, and this one seems perfectly fine, sitting nice and flush. And overall, it just feels like a really solid device. It has a lot of positives about it, but it does have some negatives. So I already touched on the fact that these sticks are far too weedy and could be more girthy, which I think would be a nice improvement. And I don't like the gap around the D-pad, but that's of course me just being very nitpicky. Then to get even more nitpicky, I really don't like these buttons. The select and start button. I already didn't like them in photos because they seem to just not fit with anything else stylistically. Everything is very round. We have the nice rounded sticks, a round circle under the face buttons, a round circle around the D-pad, round circular back and home buttons, then just suddenly two squares up here. It just doesn't fit for me. But what's worse than that is that you can actually kind of rotate them a little bit. Right now you can see that select button is not sat perfectly straight within the shell, and I can actually spin it around a little bit. I'm able to turn it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. That just doesn't seem like good quality to me, especially for the price you're paying for one of these. If it was circular, you would never even notice. Now, of course, these are massive nitpicks. I'm not saying this is like a deal breaker in any way, but they're just my immediate first impressions. I'm loading up my Windows game library on here as well as my Switch library, because over the next couple of days I intend to play through my previous shootout videos and see how well this does. We'll do all of the same Switch games, all of the same Windows games, and we'll see how they compare to the previous shootout videos, and I'll be sure to update the benchmark section of my website with the Odin 3 results. Just from my few tests I've done so far, the performance is absolutely incredible. The worries I mentioned in my previous video are still there. It still does struggle with Switch games, some just don't work whatsoever. It doesn't matter if you use Eden, Kenji NX, Benji, any of those things. I've tried loads of them. Some games just are not perfectly playable on the Elite yet, and I'm sure it will come in time, but right now it's not ready. So those warnings I made to people who want something now, I still think stand true. Fortnite still doesn't work, it just crashes you out of the game because it doesn't know what device this is. GameCube and various RetroArch cores need certain fixes which are being documented around, and I'll be sure to include in my full review as well. By the way, I just launched my first ever full written review of the Retroid Pocket G2, so please check that out if you have some time. I put a lot of time and effort into making it interactive and fun to read, and I'll be sure to make a Game Hub video of this tomorrow and a Switch video of this on Wednesday. But I do just want to talk about one thing, one big problem I have with this so far, and that is the thermal management, because it is just unacceptable right now. I have confidence that AYN will fix it and they'll implement some kind of fan curve change or something, but right now, if you want to play a highly demanding game, you need to put the fan on high, and it just sounds awful. It's unacceptably loud in my opinion. I cannot even stand to listen to it. And it's not a whine. I've heard some people have whining issues. For me, it's not a whine, it's just the fan noise. If I turn up the fan now, this is the quietest it is on sport mode. I found that if I put it on smart mode, it goes nice and quiet, but as soon as you get into any kind of game, It just ramps straight up to the same as sport mode, and it gets louder and louder as you play, to the point that this is just too loud for me to be comfortable. The speakers are amazing, so you can turn the speakers up to try to drown out the fan sound a bit, but it's just too loud in my opinion. And even with that loud sound, it still gets really hot. The Elite just has so much power in quite a small body like this. Thermal management is tricky, and I found this gets far hotter than any handheld I've ever used before. Yesterday I was playing on performance mode, so I could put the fan down to quiet, and I found it got uncomfortably hot to play. I just couldn't even play it anymore. So there's certainly some tweaking that needs to go on there. And one thing I would just like to do in this video is I'd like to do a benchmark test using Wildlife Extreme and connect my thermal camera and just see how hot it gets compared to something else, like for example, let's compare it to the Conker, which has pretty good cooling. So let's start the Wildlife Extreme benchmark test. I started the Odin 3 a little bit before the Conker, but let's just see how they compete with each other, and let's see what kind of thermal performance we get with my thermal imaging camera. So they're both running Wildlife Extreme right now. They both sound like jet engines and are making horrible grinding noises. I wouldn't say one's actually better than the other. They're both making an absolute racket. So we'll let this run, and I'll use my thermal imaging camera to see which one is the hottest. Okay, they're both on loop 5 out of 20 now. They've been going for a while, and they both sound very, very loud. So let's see what the temperature's looking like now. The hottest thing on the table is, oh, that Odin 3 is 42.2 degrees on the front. Let's just see how that compares with the Conker. The Conker's at around 35 compared to the Odin's 43, so much cooler there. But let's now flip these over and see what the temperatures are looking like on the back. I'm actually quite worried about this. So let's flip over the Conker, which makes quite a lot of grinding noises when you move it around when it's in maximum fan mode. The Odin doesn't seem to be making any of those grinding noises, but it's just generally loud. And on the back, it's actually a little bit cooler here. 41 degrees being the hottest thing, which is at the top vent of the Odin 3. Let's just isolate the Conker, and the hottest part is around 33 degrees. Then if we isolate the Odin 3, the hottest part is around 38 degrees. Isolating the front side, the hottest part of the Conker is 38 degrees, and the hottest part of the Odin 3 is 45 degrees. So a pretty toasty boy. So I'm going to stop this benchmark. I will run this another time. Let's just turn those fans down because they are unbearably loud in both cases. But I found with the Conker when I've been using it, I'm able to keep the fan pretty low and still get good performance. With the Odin 3, you either have a quiet fan that makes almost no noise at all and it's lovely, or you have the choice of going to high performance mode and it just turns into a jet engine right away. It really reminds me of that scene from Dumb and Dumber.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
That's what this fan sounds like. So yeah, I'm not overly thrilled with the sound of the fan right now. Of course, we still have limitations with what this can support, but this is shaping up to be a fantastic handheld. It's going to be so good at Windows games, which we're going to test tomorrow in detail. And it's going to handle so much with what you throw at it, with the nice big range of motion on the sticks and a gorgeous screen. So overall, I am very happy with this. But we're going to have to see how things develop over the coming months. So I just wanted to put together this first impressions, first thoughts for you. It's not in any way a kind of even mini review. It's just my thoughts over the weekend. And starting tomorrow, let's get into lots of Odin 3 content. Without the donations from you guys who helped me buy my pre-order version, I wouldn't have received this one. So thank you so much to everyone who donated and joined the cause. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again tomorrow in the Game Hub video for the Odin 3. Thanks for watching. Bye.